like. Okay? So the Autumn of Terror, that's what it was named, the newspapers and everything like that, because we had lots of murders in the area, but that was kind of usual, right? The reason why it was nicknamed the Autumn of Terror was because the murders were a bit more specific than usual, right? This area is East London, more specifically Whitechapel, the area we're going to be walking around. Now West London, rich people, East London, not so rich people. Mainly because of the wind, right? The wind usually blows in London from the west to the east, meaning all the bad smells come from the west and go to the east, okay? So not a great place to be living back then. We also had immense overcrowding, right? So in London we had 3 million people. In East London we had 1 million of those 3 million. Okay, so if we imagine we just had the World Cup, imagine a football field, cut it in half. In one side you'd have about 50 people living. That's West London. On the other side, 800 people living. So very cramped, very crowded. In that little area we're going to walk around for Whitechapel, 10,000 people. 20% of the female population kind of were on hard times, only had one thing left to sell, and that was their body, right? So we had 20% of the female population working as sex workers. Not fun, not cool. They didn't have a kind of a place to live, but they needed to make enough money to have a place to sleep each night. And those places were called doss houses. Now doss in English, sleep, right? So sleep house. But the owners of those places were pretty clever. They had several options, right? So they had the luxury option, double room for 8 pennies a night. They had a single room for 4 pennies a night. And then for 2 pennies you got like, the Formula One or the budget option, alright? They strung a big rope from one end of the room to the other end of the room. And you would sit on a bench and lean over on the rope. And the next morning when it was time to wake up, the owner came and cut the rope, so everyone kind of slumps over. Quite a rude awakening. Now the reason why the DOS owners were so clever was because they also sold alcohol, right? Alcohol! Hey! He's not part of the tour. That was well done. Now they sold gin. Now gin today, it's quite a luxury spirit. It's used in lots of cocktails. Back then it was kind of this grim, evil stuff, like battery acid. It would make your face all messed up, scars, you lose all your teeth. Not a pretty sight. And most of the women that we're going to talk about today were not pretty sights. So 4 pennies for a single room. It also cost money to drink. Right? Now, how much do you think an average transaction costs back then? Double room is 8 pennies. Any guesses how much you make selling your body? 2 pennies. Wow, you're devaluing that stuff real bad. But yeah, the average transaction was close to that. It was 4 pennies. But that meant you only needed to do one kind of not very nice activity to have a place to sleep. However, the gin often sidetracked the women. They'd make way more than they needed to have a comfortable place to sleep, but they'd spend it all on alcohol, which we'll talk about later. In today's money, 4 pennies is £1. Right? So not quite comparable. I don't think anyone. It's not Pretty Woman. That's what we're talking about, right? All these sex workers, not Pretty Woman. As long as we all know that. Right? So, blood and guts, gore, all that kind of stuff. Just before we start walking, make sure you look left, right, up and down. London has lots of cyclists now. Some of them don't know which way to go. And we've got evil pigeons, so I don't want you to get hurt. The only way you're allowed to get hurt in Whitechapel is, getting ripped. Alright? Now that's another great thing. I don't think the Jack the Ripper tours would be this popular if they were called like Criminal Number 17 or something like that, right? Jack the Ripper has a wonderful musical ring to it, and that's probably why we're all here today, yeah? Perfect. Alright, let's get it started.
We'll follow him now. Can't we match that?
No.
Dieu est mort!